Hey, good evening everybody. JT here with the town of Livingston. As you can tell, I've switched seats just to change things up a little bit. I do have a guest coming on today. I think y'all will enjoy that. As promised last week, I'll let you know and gave you a little hint of who may be joining us. But before doing that, before welcoming our guest on, I just wanted to go through a few things, let you know what's going on around town. We got a new event coming up, some of our military banner information. But I wanted to share with y'all real quick. About 6-8 months ago, had our police department come to me about the interstate, working wrecks and having to help people on the side of the road, fix flat tires, trash on the roads, all those types of things. So I started making some calls and found out, I don't know if y'all are aware, but MAP, the Motor Assistance Patrol that's contracted through DOTD, that's the red and white vehicles, they service a lot of our area. But I come to find out they were not servicing our city limits. So they stopped in Walker and picked back up in Hammond. So from Walker to Hammond, they would not come service our area. So I serve on the Capital Region Planning Commission. They are the ones, that's where we get our funding for any roads, road projects, bridges, such as that. So I went to them 6 months ago and started kind of fighting for that and said, we're a part of this organization. We pay our fees. And we have a great relationship, all the board members over there. So they listened to me and I let them know they weren't aware that MAP did not service our area. So I asked them to please include us in the new contract that was coming up this year with DOTD. So they did some research on that and come to find out just to include us, the town of Livingston, in the MAP service area was going to be an additional $360,000 to do so. So I wasn't sure it was going to happen, but I let them know, hey, that was important to us for that assistance, to have them come out and be able to help us in situations where we may be shorthanded. So through that work, yesterday I attended a meeting and they let us know that they are including now the town of Livingston inside of their service area. So I want to thank Capital Region Planning Commission, DOTD, MAP, that they will be coming out and now they will now be servicing the city limits, up to the city limits on the interstate for the town of Livingston. So that's a $360,000 contract that we don't have to pay. That is something that Capital Region Planning Commission is going to be taking care of. So I just want to let y'all know a little bit about that. A lot of times people don't really know what's going on and what it takes to get things like that done behind scenes. So it just takes relationships and sometimes it takes a long time to get it done, but I'm excited about it because they let us know yesterday that they will now be servicing our area. Military banners. So as you can tell, all of our military banners have been taken down around town. I believe a majority of the people have picked theirs up. I know there's still a handful of people that weren't able to get theirs. Don't worry, we're going to get them to you. I believe this Saturday they will be at the Farmers Market in Denham Springs. Blue Star Mothers will be there with your banners. If you can't pick them up there, don't worry. We'll get them back from them more than likely. We'll have them here at the town hall and we will give them to you. Now, we will be opening it back up at the beginning of September for Veterans Day. So if you weren't able to purchase a new banner for the last time we did it, we are going to open it back up. We know a lot of people's wanting to do this, wanting to get a banner for their military hero. And even those that have the new that got the banners the last time, if you want to put your banners back up for Veterans Day, you will be able to do that. So a new banner is going to be $85 if you haven't purchased one. And then if you already have a banner, it'll be $40 to put it back up. This money goes to Blue Star Mothers and it helps them send care packages to our military people around the world. Last week they delivered 92 care packages to military around the world. So that's what this is for. That's what it's helping them do. So if you want to be a part of it, be looking for it. I'll be sharing it here on our podcast, on our social media, and also on our town app. So be looking for that. This is something I can tell there's a lot of buzz. So we posted this yesterday. This is something we've been talking about probably for the past 2 years, is doing a town-wide garage sale / trade day kind of deal. If you have antiques, clothes, so you just want to clean out your house, we will be doing a town-wide garage sale. It's going to be on October the 18th, Friday, starting at 7 a.m. So October the 18th and 19th, Friday and Saturday. We've had people ask, are we going to have designated spots if they don't live inside of town? yes, we will do that. More than likely, it's going to be at Circle Drive Park. Now, there may be a small fee associated with that, just so we can reserve your spot. We can't just open it up and say, yeah, Circle Drive Park's going to be open, and then there's people everywhere. We don't have enough room. So we will be putting that information out. Be looking for that. Carrie will share that information, but bring your golf carts, bring your wagons. Our town's a great place to walk. We have sidewalks all around town, about 4.5 miles of sidewalk, and we are a golf cart community. So bring your golf cart, trailers, and come around and shop in the town of Livingston. That's going to be October 18th and 19th. So we're looking forward to that. Hopefully we have great weather, so we look forward to seeing you here. And last but not least, before I bring my guest on today, our playground equipment. You've seen across the street at Circle Drive Park, a lot of dirt work being done. We're prepping the ground, getting the drainage ready. The playground equipment will be delivered on Monday and should be installed by the end of next week. So kids, get ready. I think this is going to be a piece of equipment you're really going to enjoy. And then we are still waiting on the money for our bathrooms across the street. I've checked on that today with our grant writer. So we should be getting around $20,000 to repair the bathrooms over at Circle Drive Park. So we're trying our best to make that park as nice as possible for you. I think the kids are really going to enjoy the new playground equipment that we have for them. At least we hope they enjoy it. So I don't have anything else for you business-wise here that's going on in the town of Livingston. So I'm going to welcome my guest. He's somebody that a lot of you know. He has to do with our kids. So here we go. All right, as promised, we got our special guest today. Some of y'all might recognize him. Some of you may not. He might be a new face to you. And I know he's busy. I think he just left over from the school board, come over here to do this real quick with me. They have meetings, and he's going to jet back. So I appreciate you coming in. I know you're a busy man right now. For those of you that don't know who you are and why you're so busy, kind of let them know your new role, what you did maybe before your new role, and just a brief introduction to the people that's watching.
All right, so JT, I appreciate that bit of an introduction there, and yes, we are rolling with lots of new initiatives, lots of things going on. So things are really busy, but things are positive, and we're having a really, really good start. So, which is exciting for me, starting as the new superintendent here in Livingston Parish. Took the position in early May. It's a new position, not new to the parish though. I am born and raised Livingston Parish all the way through school. All of my work for education has been here in the parish. I've moved through as teacher, all the way through teacher, assistant principal, had the opportunity to serve in all grade bands, which I think that means a lot because it allowed me to see how things really function at each of those grade bands. And then moved here to the central office as a supervisor, and then to assistant superintendent, and then was honored with the position for being superintendent. So it's a big position, but it is something that I look forward to. It's a challenge, and I'm invested in it because I am born and raised Livingston Parish.
Yeah, and his name's Jody Purvis.
Oh, I did forget that part.
Hey, what? A lot of y'all know him, but I just wanted to throw that out there. So how's the first few months been? I know it's been a whirlwind. How have you, the administrative staff, the teachers, just everybody, and let people know. I don't think people understand that Livingston Parish Public Schools is the largest employer in our parish. Let them know how many employees y'all have as well.
Okay. Oh, absolutely. Things have been, I really could not have asked for a better start of this position for myself. It has been busy, but I think the thing for us is when your organization has 3,800 employees, and then those employees are spread out but over 43 schools, 6 additional programs. So you're at over 45 plus sites, and you're spread out. So that makes it difficult. Yeah. But we've worked really hard on building the capacity within our office, having a lot of discussions, a lot of trying to calibrate our office so that we are pushing out one message from our office. And I'm a huge believer in coaching and being able to coach our employees, coach our administrators, and provide them the tools and the support that they need so they can be successful. Because if they're successful, our students are successful. And so I really think for the start for us, it's been busy. It's just because of trying to get everyone on the same page, and trying to prepare for the year to start. But I really think we've got a good start. I've heard a lot of positive from our schools and a lot of excitement from our schools. Now, the schools and the administrators, the teachers, they feel the pressure of the workload, but it's a positive vibe that comes back of what we're seeing and what we're hearing from them. And that means a lot, because I've tried to reassign the way we do stuff from our office. And I think that's probably the biggest change that our schools are going to see is we've kind of reworked the way we approach our support. Instead of an administrator seeing some of our central office staff, periodically or just at meetings, and we've always been in our schools, so they would see them visibly. But now we're actually working where we have people assigned to schools. So one supervisor may have like 6 schools, and then coordinators have a certain number of schools, and they spend a large amount of time working directly in that school. And so it's allowed them to build more of that relationship with the administration as well as the teachers, but we're there hands-on to support.
Yep.
And I don't think it gets much better than us having our workers directly working hands-on as support, not as in I'm just evaluating you. It's actual support.
Yeah, and what I do know is people respect what you said. Coming from, you taught from the elementary level all the way up to the high school level, and you've done everything. So you didn't just jump in and I'm the new superintendent and here's how it's going to be. So I know people know that you have the experiences, so you're doing what you believe is best for them. So it means a lot when you have a leader that's respected by your peers, by the people that's working, I like to say with you, not for you.
Absolutely.
And I know you're the same way. So I think that's a great thing, having these administrators that's a part and building the relationships. If they're just sitting up here at the central office and sending down, hey, we got to do this, it's less respect. So I think that's a great thing going on. So when it comes to the schools, I've heard you speak before. What are some of the kind of neat, cool kind of curriculums or classes that are offered that's not necessarily math, science, and English? What's some of the things that some of our high schools specifically, I guess, offer the students, and even maybe some college credit courses that they obtain through our school system?
Well, if we named all of them, we probably
I
have to
know
stay
you
here
can't.
a really
I know
long
there's
time.
one specific
But-
I just learned about I didn't know was aviation.
Exactly. So we do. Look, we take pride in our career and technical education courses that we offer across the district. Those are the programs that grab the attention of the student and make them want to come to school every day. And so it's a career and tech education course or program, but it spills over into the academics. So we do really work to try to offer a wide variety of those. And a lot of people think that we only have those courses at one of our large schools. Like you mentioned aviation. At Live Oak High, the STEM medical and aviation program started this year. It's been started before, but the actual new center just started this year. And that is a program where there's an intense focus on aviation as well as medical. And look, it is a phenomenal facility. The program and the material there it's incredible.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we don't have those type of programs on another campus that may be much smaller. And I think when I'm speaking, I really want to focus on that, because it's easy to get caught up in, Denham Springs has a STEM center and Albany doesn't. Well, a building is not what it means to have. That's not what makes the school. It's the programs that's in the school. So we try to look at those career and tech courses, and we try to spread those out across the district. There's numerous ProStart programs that's going to be starting in the district or just recently started, and that's on different campuses. The robotics, the STEM Center in Denham has a actual center for it, but robotics is spread across numerous campuses that we have. Our medical program is one of the top in the state. We have students that are leaving us, they are certified as medical assistants. They are really, truly prepared to take that next steps, as well as for emergency medical technicians. So we have a lot of that, but then we also have the traditional, I guess if you want to call it that, back when we were in school, the traditional time the welding, electrical, and carpentry. And all of those programs are phenomenal programs where they have top of the line of equipment where students are learning on the newer equipment. They're earning certifications, so when they leave us, they are ready to go into the job industry.
And that's what I want to ask you about community partnerships. How does our school system partner with Epic Pipings or North Shore Technical College and get these kids? I've heard in the past, and I was one, I'll admit, whenever you talk about, I always think of Walker High School, all the things that they offered. But what you're saying is there's opportunities just because it's not there at the school. There are opportunities for these kids. You just got to, I think you're doing a good job of educating parents and letting them know that those opportunities exist. But have we partnered or do our schools partner with these? I always heard there was a car dealership in Baton Rouge that would hire mechanics out of, I think it was Walker High School. They would get their mechanics certifications, and straight out of high school, they would send them to some more college, but they would continue working, making really good money.
And you are correct on that. And we do, anytime there is an opportunity for us to make a partnership, our career and tech supervisor at our office when we're talking about career and tech, she works incredibly close with those contacts, and we try to build those partnerships because we need them to show experience for our kids, or our kids to go to their industry and receive experience, as well as them coming in and showing the real world experience for them. So we do work closely with them, and because it's a win-win for us, and it's a win-win for the employer, because the employer they're getting to have a jump start on getting some employees, because they're getting to work with them ahead of time and then see them become an employee for them. But as far as partnerships in general, one of the big goals that I have for our school district this year that I'm really challenging our principals on is increased community involvement and parental involvement, because I truly believe that it takes a village to raise a child, and so that's the big push that we have this year. And our principals are going to hear me say it at every meeting. They've already heard me. We're going to continue to push it, because I don't think building partnerships, I don't think building community relations or parental involvement is a one and done. It is an ongoing cycle where we have to work with it at every level, and it has to be continuous, because one and done just doesn't work. So we're going to continue to encourage that, and if there's partners, community members, or if there's businesses that are interested in partnering with us, we want to be partners, and I would encourage them to reach out to us, and we will be reaching out to them as well.
Well, I know you're just talking about partnering with certain industries or whatever, but being a part of Livingston Economic Development, they always talk about when we try to recruit industry in is skilled workforce. And it starts, I think, at the schools, allowing and having those curriculums, having those opportunities for these kids. I think it enhances the opportunity for us to bring in more jobs for people, to have a skilled workforce. That's something that we can really promote and say, our school board is working with Livingston Economic Development to provide these curriculums, to partner with different organizations to provide these skilled workers when they come out of high school. So that's awesome. Just real quick, what is as far as our school district size compared to the rest of the state, where do we rank? Aren't we in the top 10 as far as the number of students?
Absolutely, we're in the top 10. We're one of the largest districts, which I think there's pluses and minuses there. Obviously, it makes us have a lot more employees, a lot more students to supervise, but it also we're spread out, and it gives us more opportunities that we can offer just because of our size. So I think there's some pros and cons there, but we are one of the larger districts.
So let's talk about this real quick. Everybody knows when I talk on my podcast, it's not always just good, and I'll bring up some controversial topics every once in a while. When it comes to funding for our school district, and everybody knows there was a school tax for teachers that was tried to pass last year. It didn't pass. You know, some people thought maybe there need to be more transparency, maybe an outside auditing firm to come in and look and see if there was any funds that we could find before another tax was put on the people. Can you talk a little bit about that? I think it was Lean Frog was the name of the organization that came in, and what a brief, I know you could probably talk all day about it, but kind of a brief summarize what they found with their audit of the school board. And I don't even know what they did. I think they kind of looked at everything, every department. How can you save? Are you doing any spending you shouldn't be? So what was the findings on that?
So as far as our funding goes, look, that is a incredibly complex subject there that usually, you know, it takes me constantly reviewing it, even with our team as well, because a large portion of our funding comes from the MFP from the state, which is it's our major funding source. We do have some sales tax as well as some millages, but those get a little more complicated because some of those funding sources are very restricted. So they're restricted into certain, for certain purposes.
Maintenance or
salaries
or whatever,
et cetera. So those aren't, you know, there's not something you can just use wherever. So it makes it a little more complicated. So after the sales tax measure was not successful, we engaged with Lean Frog, which is a comprehensive study of the district. And there was 2 studies done. One was a salary study. So how did we compare in salary and what areas were we lacking in comparison to other districts? And then the other portion of the study was a comprehensive overall study. So the amount of material that the company requested and reviewed, it was amazing. Like, I mean, the amount of detail that they asked for, and it was probably thousands of files that was sent to them. And basically what they did, you know, they took that, they reviewed the information, they critiqued where, you know, what funds was being spent out of, you know, the different accounts, and they take it and then they do a comparison of how does it compare like on a national average, as well as how does it compare in your region, the funds that you're spending in those particular areas. And then they look at where your staffing numbers based on from all employees, not just teachers, but all employees. Are you overstaffed? Are you understaffed? And what areas can they discuss where maybe you could pick up more funding? Because obviously by the title, they want you to be as lean as possible in your budgeting. After going through the review, they had a few suggestions, very, very few. Their overall statement was that we were running on a very lean budget. There was a few suggestions, and one of those suggestions was to us to try to obtain more grant funding. And so we're working on securing and working toward how we can do that.
Yeah.
They would like to take a deeper dive into transportation, to really study some routing to see if there's some savings that can occur there. And later this month or in the 1st of September, we will be engaging with them to take that deeper dive there. So there wasn't they did not find this overstaffing issue. They was just, you know, a couple tweaks here or there, and we are working through that. But we're not stopping there. I think I probably drive our business department crazy because, you know, every little dollar adds up. And so when it's something that I can question on, well, what could we do different or how could we save here or there, we're working through and we're trying to do that. Because I do think that we have to continue to work and be as lean as we possibly can so that the public sees what we're doing. And I think that we have to be a partner with the public and work together to see what we can do to increase the pay of our employees.
Yeah, and I think that's what's important. People want transparency, and some people, they don't really care y'all do it. They're gonna complain anyway. I understand that. It is what it is, but most people do appreciate that. And so what you're telling me, when you have a organization of 3,800 people, what's your total budget? I mean, it's millions, I know.
Yeah, it's like 390.
So with any business, any business with a $390 million budget with 3,800 employees, I promise you, they bring a company like Lean Frog in, you're going to find deficiencies, you're going to find ways that you can improve. So I think that was a great thing. So how are y'all tackling the challenge of keeping teachers here, that when we have districts around us that obviously I've seen billboards in our parish that say, hey, we'll give you a $10,000 bonus to come to our parish and we'll pay you more. So how are y'all tackling that challenge? I know we have great schools, so I know that's probably one thing that keep people here, and they may live here, but I've heard and understand that there are teachers that are leaving, and they are going to other just for more pay. With the economy we live in today, we don't blame them for doing that. So how are y'all tackling that challenge of retaining the teachers and administration staff, whatever that may be, school bus drivers? What are y'all doing as a school board?
It's not just one thing that I think that I can say. I think years back we would say, you know, come work for us. We have the best demographics, and we're the place that you want to be. You know, our district has changed demographically, just like, you know, lots of other districts have. So we can't rely just on that. But I don't like to focus on that doom and gloom of we're losing all of these employees, because yes, that is true. We are losing some, but we have lots of people that want to come to Livingston Parish to work, and we have a lot that leave and realize that the grass is not always green on the other side, and then they want to come back to us, and that makes us feel really good. Obviously, I really wish, you know, and I want to eventually see all of our employees paid, and I want to be on a level playing field there, because it will help us retain the absolute most. But right now, what we have to do is we have to focus on being transparent, letting our employees know we are working and doing everything we can to try to have that as our goal and move in that direction. And then in the meantime, create an environment on our campuses where those individuals know they support it. And I mentioned coaching earlier, and something that I had said is, you know, people, it's not all about money. It's also about support. And how do I feel, and how do I want to go to work each day? Do I want to go to a place where I'm happy?
Yeah.
Do I want to go to a place where I'm working with the children and the families and we're a partner together, opposed to I'm just standing here and I'm working either as a teacher or custodian or school food service where I'm not appreciated? So I think trying to show our employees how much we appreciate them and how much we want to support them, I think that's what we have to rely on right now.
I agree with you 100%. It's not all about collecting a paycheck. And when you create that family team culture, that's worth a lot more to a lot of people, and that's great to hear. So you was talking about our parish is growing. Obviously, it's been growing for a long time. We're one of the largest school districts in the state. And when you look at that, really, you know, I would imagine a lot of the larger ones are probably big city areas. And then you pretty much have Livingston Parish. We're probably one of the ones that's considered rural, if you want to call us that. We're probably one of the largest district, probably top 2 or 3 in the state.
Absolutely.
So with that, with more people move in, you're dealing with a different social status with kids. Some kids don't have the parental guidance at home. You know, my kids, we're going to make sure, or my wife will make sure, they're doing their homework. They're going to get up and they're going to go to school in the morning. We hold them accountable. Some kids don't have that. They're not fortunate enough to have that. So I understand there's kids that maybe don't attend school like they should, and because they don't have the parental guidance to make them do that as a child. What do y'all do? What does the school board do? And do you partner with anyone to help with that? Because I know that's got to probably be a problem in some areas, maybe all of them.
Absolutely. So first of all, attendance is incredibly important to us, because obviously in order for us to educate the child, we need them here with us, and we provide a safe environment. We know that the student, when they're with us, they are safe, they're receiving a meal, and they're receiving a positive atmosphere where they're working with their peers as well as they're working with the teachers. So we want students with us. So recently the Louisiana legislature, they realized that as well, and they passed some legislation where they've put more consequences on parents if the children are not attending schools. So, and some of those consequences are if a student is missing and there's a habitual truancy issue, and then there's missed assignments, that the school has to have meetings and discussions with the parent until those missed assignments are no longer they're no longer
They're made up, I guess. Yeah.
And so and if they don't, there's some legal consequences from the legal system for the parents. So we want to be proactive on that as much as possible. So obviously we have we have electronic systems in place where there's calls made, but also our schools reach out. But then our child welfare and attendance officer from our central office works very closely with the schools as well as with the sheriff's office, because we do partner with the sheriff's office, and it has really helped, because at our office I have one child welfare and attendance officer, where in most districts there's numerous.
Yep.
So I have one. So in order to compensate for that, we've partnered with the sheriff's office, and where there's students that's habitually truant, some deputies go out to the homes. They visit with the parents to try to understand what's going on, and then have those discussions. And then after those discussions, and I didn't bring those numbers or remember them right off, but after those visits, the impact has been incredible.
Yeah.
The percentage that was no longer truant after those visits has been incredibly positive. So we're excited about that. We're going to be continuing that, and we're really going to be focusing on that.
That's awesome. And, we don't realize, how fortunate we are to be able to eat a meal.
Absolutely.
There are kids that they might come to school just to have a meal. And that's, people need to understand that. Here in Livingston Parish, we have that going on, and that's what y'all have to deal with. Teachers have to deal with this. They don't understand what a lot of people don't understand what these kids are dealing with at home. So speaking of legislation, I know you got to go, but I want to bring up one thing that might be a little controversial topic, especially for the students. Cell phones. Wasn't there a new legislation that was passed with cell phones? I know here at Doyle High School, I went to the first day orientation, and they brought that up. So maybe talk about that a little bit, what that new policy is for our schools.
So cell phones obviously has been a controversial topic across the state for years. But for us, it is a new policy that is from legislation. It doesn't vary a whole lot from our policy. In the past, our policy was if a student in grades 6 through 12 had a phone, they brought a phone to campus, it had to be in the off position unless they were given permission to use it by the administration. We did have a few schools that had like an area where they did allow students to use phones, or they would allow them to use them if it was a class assignment, etc. The new legislation does not allow for that. So the new policy for this year is if a student brings us in grades 6 through 12 brings a cell phone, it has to be turned off, and it has to be stowed away in the book sack during the instructional day. So, and I say instructional day because, lots of parents have a safety issue of, well, I want my child to have the phone where they're traveling home or if they're at an athletic event, and we totally understand that. So it has to be turned off and stowed away during the instructional day, and then after the instructional day, they would have it for practice if it was needed, etc.
Yeah, I got you.
So I will be honest, we've had a great start with that. Schools have worked very hard to educate the parents as well as the students, and obviously you're a parent and you heard that, and that's really what we want, because we don't want to have to be on that reactive side of that.
Yeah, no, that's great, and I understand. I mean, kids are on the phones and stuff, and I understand parent side as well. But I would imagine they could, if they need to get a hold of their kid, they could call the school.
They can use the office phone. The student can use the office phone, or the parent could call the office.
All right. Well, I know you got to go. Is there anything else that we missed? I know you brought some notes too. I know we've hit a lot of things.
I think we've hit a lot. I will say that, our overall this year our goal is, it's pretty broad. When I've had our discussions with our principals, I've really talked about student growth, employee growth. So like one of our goals is simply growth.
Yeah.
I didn't put a number on that, and I didn't say we were going to grow by this percent, et cetera, because I think anytime we're all growing, our system is going to grow. And we're going to work hard through a strategic planning process that we did receive a grant for, we're going to work hard, and we'll work through that process this entire year. And then next year, we'll be way more specific in some of that growth. But overall, I want everyone to grow. Then our second goal for this year is to try to have a unified system that works with the community, and that we're all working for the same purpose, and we're not working against each other.
Yes.
Sometimes, if we're working in silos, or if we're working against each other, we're not going to be successful. Social media sometimes is the issue with that, because there's not everything is there is true. So in order to help be that unified front, I think if there's questions, I encourage everyone to reach out to the schools, reach out to us, so that we can clear up any confusion, and we can be a unified group working together, because we're partners in education. We're not working against each other. And then our third goal is the increase in parental and community involvement. And I've mentioned that earlier. We're gonna continue to push that. So I really want to focus on those areas. And then for me, if we can all work with the mindset of, I want to create a school that I want for my child. If we can do that, and the principals are probably tired of hearing me say that by now, but if I can teach the way I want my child taught, or if I can prepare the meal the way I want it prepared for my child, if I can do that, at the end of the day, I couldn't ask for anything more. And I don't think a parent can ask for anything more if we've all using that mindset. So I will continue to push that.
And that's great advice. Same thing here in the town.
Absolutely.
I want to create a town where my kids want to live here when they get older. That's what drives me. It sounds like what drives you. So
absolutely.
Well, we want to thank Mr. Jody Purvis. I know he didn't want to give y'all his name earlier in case y'all wanted to call up there and talk to him.
That's right.
But now we want to thank Jody. Great guy, great leader, great friend. But thank him for coming on. I know he's busy this time of the year, so I just want to thank him for coming on our podcast today. And we will see you next week for another episode of Let's Talk Livingston.